Thank you for joining me today for counting down the top 10 examples of Japanese architecture in video games. In this one, we're starting off with this top of the list with this game's probably called, it's The Last Blade. And it takes place in Japan because you can see all the examples of ancient Japanese architecture. And it's a very fun game. And it's a fighting game, and you get to play all the different characters. But what's most important is the Japanese architecture in the background. And you can tell they are very nice buildings, and they've got nice motifs on them. And some of them is they got like cranes and stuff on them. And then there's even like you get to see all different types of things. This game's called something about the rising sun, and it's kind of like a Nobunaga's ambition or something like that. And it's got all these old Japanese castles and Japanese buildings and people, and that's a very nice building right there. This game is called Kung Fu, and I guess Kung Fu is like a Chinese. Kung Fu is more like Chinese type of thing, but the architecture is actually basically the same. Chinese is basically Japanese, you know. Kung Fu Master. That's what the game is called. Kung Fu Master, and is that Japanese? This is Japanese. These ones are from a different game, and it's called. This one is probably called from like Nobunaga's Ambition or something like that. Look at that building. This is a very beautiful. I think that's also a castle. I think most of these are castles in this game. I think it's mostly a game. Yeah, it's called 1552. This is Okami, and this is how you know that I'm just not doing the list based on what my favorite is, because these are my favorite examples of Japanese architecture in video games. Check out all these different. It's got like temples and a lot of different bamboos, a lot of different windmills. Some of it is like more fantasy style, but some of it is Japanese. This is even better. It's from the Onimusha games. Onimusha games have some of the best examples of Japanese architecture ever, especially with the rooftops and all the fixed camera angles the let you see the buildings in very nice ways that accentuate the. This one is from Big Hero 6, and the city they live in is called like San Tokyo or something like that, and it's like a hybridism of culture, but it also does have, but you see it also does have things that are just like Japan, big buildings with big screens. This and what's even better from remember when I said Chinese basically just like Japanese? That's what this is. It's like Chinese architecture, but it's basically just like Japanese architecture. Like the tents are very nice architecture. And the roof is basically just like look at the rooftops. It's basically just like whenever you're going into the land of dragons, that you just see those roofs and it's like, oh yeah, those are all like Japanese Chinese roofs. And Sam, what could even be better? These are the top number one examples of Japanese architecture in video games ever from the Samurai Warriors series. And yes, they do have Dynasty Warriors games, and that is China, and those Chinese buildings do look nice, but these Japanese buildings are even better because Japanese architecture is actually different from Chinese architecture. Duh, you guys. But this is the top number one. And oh, and there's also Samurai Warriors 4 Empires that has a nice little house. Thank you for joining me.